Hi, my name is Mandie Haynes. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I identify as Black and Mexican, definitely Latina. I do not like to be called like half breed or anything other. I don't like when people start guessing what I am. And I hate to be asked, "What are you?" That just irks my nerves. My family is from California and Virginia. My grandfather is from Michoacano. My grandmother is from New Mexico. I speak English and Spanglish. This is what looking bilingual means to me.
So you identify as Black and Mexican. So can you tell us more about your families?
So my mom's family was primarily in California, and so all of my mom's family is Mexican, of course, and all of my dad's family is Black, and they're all from Virginia. And so growing up, though, from both sides of the family, I've noticed a lot of similarities. At least I've had lots of love, and it's been a lot about family, food, always food.
Yes.
So it's been exciting. And I was thinking about this when you said the question. And for me growing up, I had my grandmother and my abuelita. I had my granddaddy, which is very country, granddaddy, and I had my abuelo. I had my cousins and my primos, and so I just always had the two. It's always been cool.
I remember very specifically you talking about how accommodating each side was for the other. And you mentioned at one point tacos and fried chicken.
Yeah, so my family, like, of course, we got together almost every weekend. We always spent time together. There was always music and food with my mom's side of the family. And so to just not, I guess, ignore that other side of me, they would always have like all the Mexican food. It'd be tacos, and my aunt, it was always my aunt, she would make pozole, and we'd have menudo on the weekends, and they would always have this fried chicken. And growing up, I didn't realize they did that just for me and my dad.
That's so sweet.
And it wasn't to be offensive, it was
No.
just so then they felt like it was something that was familiar to, especially my father, because he's coming into this.
Right.
Yeah, so
No,
every
it was
weekend,
cariño. It was cariño. It was love, like, I'm sure in another context this could be seen as, oh, wait a second, but this was an olive branch. Like, hey, we know you're here.
inclusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that's beautiful. And I love how you talked about how food really brought your families together, which I think is something that we hear, but throughout your story, it was just something that just really resonated over and over again. Are there any other instances in which food brought your family together?
Just both sides are my grandmothers were phenomenal cooks. And my grandfathers, they cooked too, but my grandmothers were amazing. And it's one of those things that for both sides, I was taught that food equated love. So anytime somebody came over on both sides, they left with a plate. And if we didn't have a plate, oh, let me see what I have in the fridge. What is it that you need? And so I've noticed that as I've grown up, that I feel that to show love for other people, I will cook. And I try to cook everything from scratch because to me that equates how much I appreciate or how much I care about you.
Yeah.
Because who wants to stand in the kitchen all day? Not nobody nowadays, especially when you can go to a restaurant. But to me, I find it real passionate because I feel like that's how my family just really stated that, hey, I love you because we were happy. I mean, you get a good meal, something to drink, and you're happy.
Yeah, yeah, no, and food is culture, and it sounds like I don't think it's one of the official love languages, but it sounds like food was your
Yes,
and your family's
very
love
much.
language. So, what was the language situation at your house, and how did that impact you growing up?
So up until I was two, I spoke both English and Spanish, apparently very fluently. And my grandmother unfortunately passed away when I was two. And but she passed away on my birthday. So yeah, it was a little bit of an issue. So I don't know. It just seemed after that there was no expectation for me to speak Spanish back to anybody. So my grandfather spoke to me in Spanglish. My mother spoke to me in whatever she felt like speaking that day. So because my mom's fluent.
Yeah.
To this day, if I call her, sometimes she'll just speak in Spanish. But because it was never an expectation for me, I spoke back in English, and my whole family just answered whatever I said. So it just never felt like I had to. And then when I got to the age, it was middle school, and I felt like, hey, I really need to know Spanish because I felt that as I was getting older, people felt that I wasn't as Mexican because I don't speak the language. And I just kind of felt like that.
Yeah.
So I'd go to school and I'm like learning, and I would come home and I'd talk to my grandfather, and my grandfather would be like, what are they teaching you in this school? This doesn't make any sense, because they're teaching this like Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess if you think about it, we speak Mexican because even, you know,
Right.
Spanish is different in every culture.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I never felt comfortable to this day. I just feel like I don't feel as comfortable speaking Spanish. But the few times that I have, usually if I'm drinking, just be honest,
Hey, man.
I do fine. And I still think in Spanish at times. So there are
Yeah.
sometimes, and I know people probably think I'm ridiculous because I'm looking and I'm like, wait, hold on, what's the English word for that? And I have to find it. And then, oh, okay, that's what it is. And people are like, you speak English all the time. Yeah, I don't think you understand though, because in my mind, that's not how it always is.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And depending on what you're talking about, maybe it's something that you did talk about more in Spanish, or you heard more in Spanish, or it was a situation in which you were, surrounded by people speaking Spanish. So like, is one of those in the kitchen, or like, where do you find that you kind of start to lose words in English?
Mine are usually relationships.
Oh,
So for the like is it godparents.
oh, yeah.
So I only had godparents on one side of my family. I
Ah,
didn't have, because I mean, why you have one set of godparents? I had a Nina and a Nino. I'm like, when people tell me, oh, godparents, I get stuck for a minute because I'm like, well, what are those? Oh, wait, no, 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 hold on. There's a Spanish word for that. Oh, okay, no, I had those too.
right. You
So
learned it
it's
in Spanish, you didn't learn that in English because they were probably Spanish speaking people.
yes,
You grew up in San Diego, but
yes,
you currently live in Arkansas.
yes.
So what was that change like culturally for you?
First got here, there weren't very many Mexicans here at all.
Right.
And I didn't realize how much that was going to impact me. But all of a sudden, it was like missing that other half of me.
Mhm.
And I got homesick. I was kind of freaking out. And thankfully, like my husband and his family are really great. And they would try to take me to all these Mexican restaurants. And it was all Tex Mex. And I'm like, it's not the same.
Not the same.
Right. And it was just very frustrating. And then over the years, people started migrating to that were Mexican. So now we have a whole area where I can go buy groceries and I see people that, you know, to me, I don't know if it sounds strange, but to me look like me,
Yeah,
even though I guess by society standards, they don't look like me, but that's
that's
what
super
I
interesting.
saw growing up. And I think to me, Arkansas is a really great place for entrepreneurialism. I mean, food trucks are popping up like crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess part of the lure is you don't need as many, you don't have to go through as many hoops to get one.
Mhm.
So I know people that have like the food trucks and they do like margaritas on the weekend where they sell them by like the gallon, which is
Wow.
insane. But yeah,
That is
uh,
insane,
but
but it makes sense.
yeah, it's really easy to start your own business.
And so a lot of these entrepreneurial like beginnings with restaurants and things like this are predominantly the Latino community there.
Yeah, only in this area. So
Mhm.
it's called Baseline Geyer Springs. I see just the Mexican places. It's not just one, it's different areas. So like one of them's Jalisco, one of them's Michoacan. Like
Yeah.
you can tell the region that they're from by their food.
And it's almost like it came to meet you out there when you're going through the situation where you're like, where my Mexicanness go from being so, you know, just encompassed in that, and they came and met you.
They did. They brought candy and everything. So I'm super excited. Like,
You talked about how you see people that look like you, even though you recognize that by society standards, you're not the same,
yeah,
right? Despite feeling more culturally Mexican, it's almost like you've combined the best of both worlds.
oh, I have. My husband is so accepting and he's so wonderful. Like, it's the amazing thing is he's gotten so good that he makes carnitas now. I don't make them. Yeah,
Oh,
he makes them. Or when we go grocery shopping, he's picking out, you know, what's needed for the meal. One of the things I always think is funny is he's like, "Oh, don't get that regular sour cream. We need the sour cream from over here on the Mexican side because you know it's not the same." Or like the Mexican Cokes, he'll go pick them up for me because he knows. As a matter of fact, that's what he drinks at this point.
yeah.
So, and like his family's really great about it too. They don't treat me like I'm other. I'm just family.
And how fortunate you've been that you not only grew up in two families that were really excited about each other and celebrating each other, but you've also married into a family that is also excited about it and wants some carnitas. Yeah. And what wonderful cultures you have to support that.
But anytime you prepare a meal, it's telling people you want to take care of them.
Yeah. Yeah.